would do, I'm hoping the mic's working fine. Yeah, it looks like it is. I said I would do a social media monitoring dashboard for embassies, consulates, commissions, all that kind of stuff. And it's public holiday, so I kind of marked that up. By the way, do you like my earrings? I do. Anyway, they're stars. I like stars in jewelry. And I'm doing this because I have to do it anyway, and I thought I'd do it live so that you could see part of it. Now, normally I'd have a whole social media strategy, conversation diary prepared, a bunch of things, but today let's just do a practical, tactical setup, and I'm going to do it on the fly, partly because I haven't done the other stuff, and I want you to see how I think. Now, I'm going to make mistakes. And the trick is going to be to figure out that I'm making the mistake to show you how people make mistakes, and then I backtrack to fix it. And then where I'm genuinely making a mistake and covering my tracks. So good luck with figuring that out. All right, so I'm using a free tool. Actually, no, I'm paying $5 a month for this, but you can get a free version of it called feedly.com. And the first thing I have to do for embassies and consulates is I'm sort of thinking about who they are and what they do. So one of the easiest ways to do that is just to go and have a look at a embassy page. These are not a client. I'm just faffing at the moment. So this is DFAT, the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. And let me just share, get rid of my head. So what I want to know is what content they're sharing, what content they're creating, so original source material, what content they're sharing, so other people's, other organizations' content, embassies and stuff. Distribution tactics like hashtags in this together, links. So we've got Solomon Islands. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. So the first thing I want to do is bring them, and this is where it gets a bit tricky. I need to bring this Facebook page into my Feedly, which is this one here. How are we going to do that? Because Feedly doesn't bring it in natively. So there's a few tools. I'll show you Fetch RSS because you can have a certain number of feeds for free with this one. I'm already logged in. I take the Facebook link, copy, and I paste it into here, and it's going to generate something called an RSS. RSS just means that I can copy it. It's the middleman. It takes the website or the Facebook and then lets me paste it into Feedly. Copy link address, back to here, and I click add. Paste, hit return. Oh no, I don't have to. Australian Government Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade on Facebook. So this is the government department that works with around 150, 160 embassies, consulates in Australia. I click follow. I'm going to have to put it in a new folder. New feed, embassy, consulate, blah, blah. Whatever you want to call it, I don't mind. If you're a social media manager that works with foreign language organisations or business, International Business Chamber of Commerce, you know, the group that sort of mix between, the organisation that works in developing business between us and Australia and, I don't know, let's say Morocco, then you would have multiple folders, but for this exercise, I'm just calling it embassies. So we've put in here following. So when I go down here now, back to here, when I go down here and I choose at the bottom here, embassy and consulate, it may not show very much initially because it's all historical, but gradually all the Facebook feed stuff will come in, which is awesome. Let's go find DFAT on Twitter because I'll show you another little tip. One of the things the strategy document will show you I've already looked at this one recently, is the purpose and values of the organisation. So when you think of an embassy, you have to think about what are the services. And the initial response is, if I lose my passport, I can go there and get a passport. Yeah, awesome. But that's not the only thing they do. Import, export, building brand Australia as at a B2B level, like Tourism Australia is B2C primarily. They do have a B2B component, business to business, but normally it's business to customer, trying to get retirees to come to Australia for holiday, or trying to get group bookings or family holidays. So they have lots and lots of different audiences. With consulates and commissions, I would imagine, I know that a lot of their work is about business to business and ensuring that their core industries are, that other countries use their core industry that aren't doing that industry themselves. If that makes sense. Probably doesn't. As an example, I went on a trip to Spain at the invitation of the at the invitation of the ministers there through the commission, Embarcadio. I forget what the formal name is in Spanish, sorry. Anyway, and we saw things, for instance, like they build specialist military plane and submarine things there, and they have a solar monitoring NOC, Network Operations Centre, that looks after global solar farms and wind farms and things like that. So it was very interesting. But I guess what I'm saying is you have to figure out all of those things in the strategy document first, and then you'll find doing these kind of monitoring dashboards easier. But let's go to DFAT. I want to go to lists. I want to view their lists because they've already compiled a list of all of the digital diplomats, digital diplomacy, foreign embassies in Australia. So let's see what they've got on here. 34 members. That's interesting. 34 members on the DFAT Twitter. I wonder why. There's 150. Oh, I know. Probably the local commission doesn't have a Twitter account, only the international one. I don't know. Okay, so we've got here Russia in Australia, the Russian embassy, Canada, posting twice, once in French, once in English. And this is going to be a problem because algorithm-wise, most algorithms don't accept multiple languages unless you specify it. Anyway, not getting into that right now. Canada, Germany, sharing UNESCO World Heritage Day. So there's their content calendar. You get the general idea. Now, one of the things that I can do on Twitter, but I'll have to do it through the RSS generator, is take the Twitter list. I think you can do this. I used to be able to. And put that in the, Twitter hashtag. I put that into Fetch RSS, and I'm going to generate an RSS feed just of the news feed of the foreign embassies in Australia. No, it won't accept it. Well, let's try it natively. I don't like our chances. And this becomes problematic. Now, Hootsuite, interestingly enough, Hootsuite can monitor RSS feed of Twitter lists. So when people say to me, what social media tool or dashboard do you like? I'm like, none of them. And then when it comes to monitoring, you'll find Fetch RSS works for some, and then there are other tools that work for others, and then Hootsuite works for some, but then Hootsuite only does very small amount of monitoring. Twitter list is about the best that it gets to, so that's a problem. But you know, at the least I can go in here and try another URL and try, now is it DFAT? Twitter.com/DFAT. Let's have a quick look. Yes, at DFAT. Get the RSS. By the way, I chose and retweets. Oh, look, they've added Feedly in now. Excellent. Because, why did I choose? Oh, because I want to see the actual things that they're supporting and moving between. So here we've got at DFAT on Twitter. I went into RSS generator, pasted it in, and it gave me back the DFAT list. And then I'm going to post that in instead. This is what I mean by you need a middleman. DFAT on Twitter, follow, and I'm going to add it to Embassies. So now under Embassy and Consulate, I have those two pages. If we have a look at the members, Moroccan Embassy in Australia, Qatar, Indonesian. Let's have a look at Morocco. I lived in Fez, which is it's not Marrakesh. Fez is traditional, and I loved it. It was quiet, and I studied there. I studied Arabic, actually. Fusha. I don't remember it. I don't remember much anyway, but it was interesting. So we've got the Moroccan Embassy. Just need to just add something into this one. Transition it over so that you can still see me. I was turning it on and off because for some reason or the other, the camera or the broadcast software or the restream software reverses me. So I'm looking in this direction, but the anyway, it doesn't matter. You don't need to know that. And let's just check. Cobain, yes, I'm Australian. Is my lighting really dim? Thank you. That's the point of a live stream. People to point out that you're too dim. Is that better? Tell me it's better. All right, so we've got the Moroccan Embassy on Twitter. Now, of course, I can also copy that one. We can't do Twitter at all, can we? Let me just do Twitter directly. Why did I do that? I already knew I'd copied it. No, okay. So I have to use the RSS generator for anything to do with Twitter and for anything to do with Facebook. Just put it in, copy that link, come back here, paste it in. Follow, put it into Embassy. Are you getting the general idea here? So when I click on the Embassy feed at the top, Embassy Consulate, I will see the combination of everything that I'm putting on this list, on this feed, on this bookmark tab, and I can scroll through everything. However, I can also click on just one if I want to. And the challenge is going to be to create multiple feeds because embassies and consulates are a hall of brands. They're like an industry organization. They're building a bridge between multiple sections of their nation, their country, their group, their psychographic, their demographic at home, and multiple psychographics, clientele, stakeholders, I don't know what they call them, in Australia, as an example. So they're building a bridge between them. So I would have separate feeds to talk to separate audiences because we know you can't have multiple audiences on one channel. The algorithm won't allow it. It will go, oh, they've got, I don't know, small business and big business and government and journalists and everything on here. I'm going to pick one. And that's when you get a high number of people on a page and then a low number of engagement. Actually, let's have a look and see for DFAT how that's working. Insights. So I'm going to my training Facebook page, the one I muck around on. And I'm in Insights. And I got to remember to vision switch quicker because I'm silly. And when we come down the bottom and we say add pages to watch, I added this one earlier. So I can see out of 34,000 likes on the page, they've got 3.8 thousand engagements on 11 posts. That's actually pretty good. So one of the things that I like to do is, now I would go into the ad library and check to see how many ads they're running, but I already did that when I was doing just a preliminary little audit stalking thing. And they didn't have any ads. But I am going to click on Australian government because I want to see what the top posts are. Let me hide myself. I think it's that one. Might be. Yeah, that one. And so this was posted on June the 3rd. And it had 4 comments and 9 shares. And then when I look at the shares, I can see that the Australia-Morocco Business Council shared it, the Australian High Commission in Canada, the Australian Representative Office in Ramallah, and 2 more. This is super important. And it's something that businesses often misunderstand, but that embassies and consulates actually do quite well. And that is that they are in a frenemy situation in many ways. But I'm talking primarily, let me move the mic out of the way before I knock it. I'm talking primarily in social media, in the attention economy, that they share each other's content because their focus is on building a bridge. And social media is social networking. And as much as small businesses like to do coupon, competition, governments have already figured out how diplomacy works, and it works on influencers, and it works on sharing of shared values, so sharing of content, and a whole range of other things. I am really nosy, in case you haven't figured that out yet. I want to have a look at the Australia-Morocco Business Council, AMBC. Australia, Morocco, Business Council. I'd already picked that up. Goody. So let me just go to that. Whee! That's it. This is where embassies do struggle with their social media strategy, because they make a post public and then it's in multiple languages. Now, what they could do is change the post to a specific language in Creator Studio. You don't have to pay for this, by the way, it's free. I've probably shown you this. I think I've shown you this, and I'm so sorry if I duplicate stuff, but a lot of what I do during the day is duplicating stuff. So if it works, I don't change it. If I create a post in the Creator Studio and then I choose my embassy page, instead of it being public, can you let me know if you can see this? It says public right at the bottom. I'm not sure if it's in shot. I'm just looking. Oh yeah, looks like it's in shot. What's my hair doing? What can I say? It's public holiday. You're lucky I'm wearing makeup. Bit of lippy. Oh, I haven't checked my comments. I'll check it in a minute. Newsfeed targeting. How do I stay sane tracking so much information? You're making an assumption there, Francis. All right, who should see this? Change it from public to newsfeed targeting, and then change the language, French. And your choice is Canadian French or French French. I've probably just upset a whole bunch of people in Canada. Oh well. Let's do French or... And that allows you to take all the people on your page. Let's say you have 10,000, and let's say 3,000 of them speak French, or let's say you have 10,000 and 8,000 of them speak French, but 2,000 don't. What you want to do is make sure the people who don't speak French don't just slide on past. If that happens, your next post will be penalized in Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. Not sure about TikTok, not sure about Snapchat. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. They would absolutely be using language as one of their data sets in the algorithms. So change that to French and then make sure that that post in French, where was it? Here. Only went out in French. Now, I know that there's a possibility to hit translate, but I would not be relying on it. I mean, I've seen other embassies post twice in the same post. Here's the French version, here's the English version. I'd have to check the analytics to see how well that worked. I don't hold out much hope. So Moroccan embassy, Moroccan business. When you're on a website, let me just check comments, make sure I'm not missing anything. And doesn't look like it. Sorry, I'm losing all the stuff here. Dean, if you want two groups to connect with each other, you would need to find what the topic is that they share in common. Because it's not demographic based and it's psychographic based, you could choose import export as your keywords that the semantic AI, there's a semantic engine, artificial intelligence engine called Deep Text. And you would use import export, and then you would make sure that you now that keyword in absolutely everything you posted to the page, and that would allow people around the world that were interested in import export to connect on that topic. So it doesn't have to be, don't think old world demographics, women 28 to 35 with children, or seniors, men who are board members and live in the eastern suburb. Actually, that's psychographic. No, but not too much on the vertical of age and location. Try and focus on absolutely using content that is directed to people that are interested in that type of content. And the lookalike audience will be found for you. Okay, I probably went into too much depth on that one, but there you go. Gary, don't wear makeup just for us. We're still in our jammies. Photo, it didn't happen, Gary. Can the comments cross posts? That's an interesting one. Not on the platforms natively. I'm not sure if some of the... That's interesting. I'll have to look into that one. I might put that down for a video for later. Anyway, because I'm on Feedly, I'm capturing retweets, reshares. I can actually see the network building out from some of the core organizations and who else they bring in. What did I say I was going to do? I was going to switch to a website, and I'm just going to bring one up. I need one that let's see what we can find here. Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing again. If you guys don't tell me I'm not sharing my screen, you're not going to see what I'm talking about. So this is the Moroccan embassy in Australia. Again, they're not a client. I'm just picking them because I lived in Morocco for a couple of years. Year and a bit? I don't know. I don't remember. At the bottom of the page, can you see this? It's like it's called an orange RSS icon, but it looks like a transmitter. And if I right click on that and say copy link address, thanks Dean, and come back here, I can now add this moroccoembassy.org.au/?q=rsl.xml. Don't worry about that. Just click on this and click follow, and you want to put it in your embassy folder again. And now I'll get the news from the embassy as it comes through. Just remember with Feedly, it's usually last in best dress, so today and yesterday, and then if things are truly trending, you'll get a trending topic at the top. But embassies and consulates are rarely trending, and rarely for good reasons, unfortunately. So it is useful when that happens, but not necessarily what an embassy would want to be trending. You're getting the general idea. You can bring in Facebook, you can bring in Twitter, you can bring in all of the network that the embassy or consulate or Department of Foreign Affairs needs to work with. They can bring in the ambassadors' tweets and the business council and whatever joint venture partners they've got going on that they want to share the content from. And it is critically important both to relationship building and in social media in general, but also, of course, specifically with a B2B organisation like an embassy or consulate, primarily B2B. Or B2G, government, business to government, and government to business, that they build bridges and they build relationships. So this allows them to create a structure to track everything. And I'm going to show you in a second how to share it. The second thing, of course, is the algorithm is looking at shared audiences. So, look, they're sharing the content from this page, and this audience must be the same as their audience and vice versa. So you actually build your audience, or the algorithm can build your audience by looking at the preferred audience and then building a lookalike audience on the different platforms. Let's move on. I've got to sew the hem on a few curtains today. So, priorities. I'm going to choose, let's see, Dr. Sonia McCarthy on Solomon's Island COVID-19 preparedness. So I click on that, have a look at the article, can see the link, and then up here I can share directly to Facebook, and I'm not sharing the screen again. I've really got to get used to being both the talking head and the editor. So let's just do that one again. I scrolled down, I saw Dr. Sonia McCarthy. Why can't I see you guys? There you are. Dr. Sonia McCarthy, click, go to Facebook, post to Facebook, and change share to newsfeed to share on a page you manage, and then choose the embassy page or the consulate page that you want to share to. That's if you want to do it directly and straight away. If you want to schedule it, you'll need to share it to Hootsuite or to Buffer app and then put in a time. But if you're happy to post it directly, you can tweet directly from here as well. and then say what it is you want to say, interesting read, blah, 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 click tweet. And with Twitter, you can schedule and add some other things to it as well. That means that you are pulling in a whole lot of content of organizations you're building relationships with, stories you're trying to tell, marketing comms, crisis comms, PR comms, doesn't matter what. You're pulling it all into this one dashboard, and then you are choosing your platforms to then go out and share. Now, obviously, with embassies and consulates, they need to have a really strong crisis comms strategy backing this, and make sure that the person who's working the social media has a clear idea of what they can share and where the allegiances lie, like who they can share and what topics they can share on, and you want a yes, you can definitely share this stuff, and then you want an absolutely no column, do not share this stuff from these people. But it's doable. That's, I guess, more or less it. Any questions? Francis asks, there's a way of sharing this to the screen. I think there is, but I need to find out how to do that. And what happens if I click on it? No, I can't do that. All right, Francis, does that mean social media staff from these embassies and government departments would be good to recruit for corporate and commercial, comms? I think you mean comms. Are their skills transferable? That is, would they be as effective if they're good in those embassy social media roles? I think you're asking, should embassies outsource their social media? Or can they do it in-house? Look, they can do it in-house, and they probably should do it in-house. You'd have to train up your social media manager on a whole range of things. They would need to have, like I mentioned, a clear crisis comms document about what topics create a crisis. When our country does this, it creates a storm in this country. You are the social media manager for this country. Be aware of that. And every country's got these areas that they need to be careful of. So definitely somebody with a PR and crisis comms background would work. Language is a challenge, not just actual languages like French versus English. So the person would need to be bilingual unless it was the UK Commission or something. But also language differences. You'd have to speak to the native population in their language. I don't know, trunk versus boot or something. I don't know how important that is, but there's definitely doesn't ring quite as if due care has been taken to speak to the local population if there isn't at least an attempt to connect to, I don't know, an overseas embassy here would need to connect to what's happening in Australia on topic as even more than the lingua franca. Also, high commissions have their own language. Hands up if you know the difference between a commission and a high commission. I do. And an embassy, and a consulate, and an ambassador versus a consulate general. And, so there's, if you came in, this is one of the reasons I wanted to do this video, because if you're a social media manager with social media expertise, and somebody says, oh, you should go talk to Laurel, she speaks Arabic. Not anymore. I studied it, but I'm terrible at it. But maybe somebody would, and they'd say, she'd be a great social media manager for you. I would need to learn the internal language, the priorities, the values. Why is this embassy in Australia? Is it to build this kind of bridge? Is it to connect to this kind of community? Is it to do with military or economic or aid or, make a list, I guess. Francis, did that answer your question? I feel like I waffled. Dean, culture is everything. And it's not just language. There's something in Arabic where you say, in English we say thank you, and then the person responds with it was my pleasure, or no problems, mate, or whatever it is we respond to. We dismiss the thank you. And for instance, in Arabic, you say shukran, which means thank you. And then the response is la shukran ala wajib, which means don't thank me, it's my duty. So whereas in English we're talking about pleasure, and it was a pleasure to help you, in Arabic it's my duty. And duty is so ingrained in the culture. So these are not just words. Language is culture. It's you can't do a straight translation ever. And you know that, I think, because if you're talking to an academic in English, you speak differently to them than you might to somebody else. A journalist or a child or a teacher or a tradie or a truck driver or politician. We shift our language all the time. And the words mean what the words say, but they come with, it's probably a technical term for it, etymologically, like they come laden. They come laden with the culture. All right. Or Afghan. Oh, is it pleasure in Afghan? That's interesting. What do you say when somebody says thank you? Because you can say thank you to me and then I'll say it in response to you. So, what is it in French? Merci? And then what do they say back? I can't remember. Francis, I speak 5 languages. It's not always easy to translate. Yeah, I speak Italian, but I speak Northern Italian, which is also different than Southern Italian. It's Lecchese I speak, which is closer to French. Persona and content. Okay, I need to figure out how to put your comments up on the screen, because I think it's really boring when I can see everybody's comments and I can see them on Twitter, Periscope, I can see them on LinkedIn, I can see them on Facebook, I can see them on YouTube. And that's why I'm trying to remember to say them back to you and then respond, but I keep forgetting. So apparently, I think in German it's bitte, and that's from Dean. And then Gary says, pas de quoi? And then Dean says, that's German casual is bitte. And pas de probleme as a thank you. I guess that's no problem. No props, mate. And Dean has asked me what broadcast tool I'm using. I'm currently using OBS Project, but I'm about to, which is free. It's actually open source, but I'm probably about to move to Streamlabs OBS, which is also free, but looks prettier. And I use Restream, and I started with the free version, and I've recently upgraded to the paid version, but I'm not convinced I'm going to stay on paid. So I don't know if that helps you. Restream just lets me stream everywhere, and it also has a chat panel so that I can see the chat on all the different platforms without having to have 50 million pages open, because I have 50 million pages open. Francis says, yeah, OBS, I love OBS. I do too, but on the Mac, we don't have the ability to add custom panels, so I can't add the chat panel. If you know how to do that on a Mac, would you let me know? Because I'd like to be able to go to my Stream Deck and vision switch to the chat panel so that you can all see the chat and see what each other is saying. Dean, thank you. Would you? Francis, I downloaded Streamlabs yesterday. So, yeah, I'm an expert. All right, darlings. Time to finish. And I still need to put sound on my countdown. But love you and leave you. Bye.